One of the biggest stories in media last week is Shannon Sharpe, after years of being with Skip Bayless on Undisputed, will be taking his talents to ESPN to join Stephen A. Smith twice weekly on First Take. Well, Uncle Shay Shay certainly gave us a great topic here today because on his Twitter, he released his top 10 quarterbacks in the NFC, waiting on that AFC version. But Kyle, this is going to be your first reaction. This is going to be the audience's first reaction. Let's go down the top 10. Starting at number 10, Jordan Love, the Green Bay Packers quarterback with not a lot of game tape, will be number 10. At number 9, former Super Bowl champion Matthew Stafford. 8, Derek Carr. 7, Daniel Jones. And number 6, a rookie, Bryce Young. Number 5, Kirk Cousins. Number 4, Dak Prescott. Number 3, Jared Goff. Number 2, Jalen Hurts. But no, that is not the most shocking part of this list because number 1, you haven't heard his name yet, but you're about to. Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears is Uncle Shay Shay, Uncle Shannon's number 1 quarterback in the NFC coming into this year. Kyle, how do you feel about that list? It's certainly shocking to any casual observer.
First of all, I'm a little bit sad at myself just because in my brain, I was going through NFC quarterbacks when you got to number 1. And I was like, he's not going to say Geno Smith, is he? It's not going to be Geno Smith at number 1. But I forgot about Justin Fields, who's my guy. I love Justin Fields. And I forgot about Justin Fields. Number 2 was, who did he say number 2 was again?
Number 2 was Jalen Hurts.
Or 2 was Jalen Hurts.
Number 3 was Goff. 4, Dak. 5, Kirk. Number 6 was Bryce Young. 7, Daniel Jones. 8, Derek Carr. 9, Stafford. 10, Jordan Love.
Other than Geno Smith not being in the top 10, which I think is just kind of like a mutual respect thing of like, hey, Geno Smith, you probably deserve that. Not a whole lot of issues 7 through 10 or 7 through 11. The one thing I will say is that while we haven't seen a lot of Jordan Love, I have seen slightly more of Brock Purdy. So I guess I would say Brock Purdy ahead of Jordan Love at this point. I would include Bryce Young in any list just because he's played 0 NFL games at this point. So I would just remove him from the conversation. So 6 through 10, I don't really have any big issues with. Sure, maybe Brock Purdy should have been number 10, or maybe Geno Smith should have been ahead of all of those people, but not really something I'm going to hang my hat on. Jared Goff, I mean, it's only 1 spot difference, so I'm not going to pound my fists on the table and be upset, but I still think Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Jared Goff, right? I feel like the needle hasn't swung all the way back around on that one to where I'm I don't think Dak Prescott is lower than Jared Goff. I don't even know if Jared Goff is better than Kirk Cousins. I think Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins, I don't have an issue with if you put one over the other or the other and over one. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but I feel like Dak Prescott still deserves to be number 3, right?
But I mean, the biggest outlier of them all is just Justin Fields does not deserve to be above Jalen Hurts, especially coming off last year, knowing what we know. Jalen Hurts established himself as a true MVP candidate, and Justin Fields can only hope to do that this year, which I guess if you're Shannon Sharpe, you're looking at this and you're saying to yourself, I'm going to factor in potential. I'm going to factor in potential into my list. And if you want to make a case that I think Justin Fields has the most potential out of anyone on this list, okay, I can hear that argument, but just outright say he's the best quarterback in the NFC, no, I can't buy that argument. I haven't seen best quarterback in the NFC talent yet from Justin Fields. It could be unlocked this year, but so far in the 2 years we've seen him, he's not the best quarterback in the NFC. Again, I would give him enough respect to put him above guys like Daniel Jones. Maybe you could kind of split hairs on that decision. Derek Carr, I feel like we've talked about it for years. He's played at a Pro Bowl caliber, and the Saints, you're certainly hoping in acquiring him this year that he could bring some of that, be able to work well with guys like Olave and Kamara when he gets off his suspension. But right now to have Justin Fields at 1 is just crazy to me. And even Stafford being at 9. I mean, I'm not the biggest Stafford fan of the world, but the Super Bowl wasn't forever ago. It was literally 2 years ago. He had a back injury, sure. He had a neck injury. He had a lot of injuries. But I think Matthew Stafford deserves a little bit more love on this list. And I'll even throw out too, Kirk Cousins, he might be the second best quarterback in this conference right now at this point too, just given what I've seen.
Okay, I'm not usually one for the flaming spicy takes on here, but since this is the topic that requires something like that, I'm just gonna throw this out here. Matthew Stafford is cooked. Cooked. It's over for Matthew Stafford. Just putting that out there right now. Over for Matthew Stafford. It's not coming back. He is physically broken. It's cooked. Game over for Matthew Stafford. To your point about Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts, I agree. Jalen Hurts is number 1. Justin Fields is number 2. But I'm not so upset about it as compared to you. It's not crazy to say that Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts are on the same tier, because I can name you 5 quarterbacks that I know right now are better than Jalen Hurts, and they're all in the AFC. Granted, it's Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Maybe that's just playing the small sample size game on Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's playing the Jalen Hurts doesn't have as much talent as Justin Fields or many of those quarterbacks that I just named. Maybe that's the game I'm playing there, but it's not outlandish to say that Jalen Hurts is number 1 and Justin Fields is a close second. I think it's too early to call on Justin Fields to say definitively where he is in this game, and that's going to fluctuate a lot year over year. So maybe Shannon Sharpe's getting out ahead of the curve on Justin Fields. Like 4 weeks into the season, we're going to be like, yes, Justin Fields is this MVP candidate. But I don't think it's crazy to say that Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields are both 1 and 2. Now, Fields over Hurts, I'm not going to go that far right now, but at the same time, I don't think it's that crazy to say that they're 1 and 2 in some order.
It's crazy. I'm sorry, Kyle, but it's outlandish. It is wild, because if I am starting, I'm putting a team together right now, and I need someone to just play me one NFL game, I would put Dak in over Justin Fields. I would put Kirk in ahead of Justin Fields. At this current point in time, I can't trust Justin Fields to win me a big game. Like, if this is a do or die game for the fate of the universe, I don't think Justin Fields is in my first 5 NFC quarterbacks that I'm putting under center. Like, that's how I look at a list like this. If I'm putting this today, which Shannon Sharpe put out this week, this is his list, then I have to evaluate it as such. And, again, we're going to talk other outliers here too. Jared Goff, again, you mentioned putting him ahead of Dak. Yes, I agree with you. I think that's wild to me as well. I think Goff being ahead of Cousins is wild. Goff probably 4 or 5. And yes, Bryce Young, let's just get him off the list for now. Like, Mike Sando doesn't even put like rookie quarterbacks in his quarterback tiers list for that very reason, because we don't know. We don't know how good Bryce Young's going to be. We don't know how good CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson is going to be. We'll find out, but you brought up a great name too. Brock Purdy needs to be on this list based off 8 games, 8 times as many games as we've seen from Jordan Love practically. So I would rather see him on here. And Geno Smith.
I get that.
We got to give respect. I'm giving respect to a Seahawk here in doing this. Geno Smith went to a Pro Bowl, and even if it was in the weak NFC quarterback conference that we have, Geno Smith earned his stripes last year to come in after potentially best Seahawk of all time. Russell Wilson leaves the team and lead that team to a playoff. Incredible. He deserves it to have his shine in the top 10 this year, even if we think it was a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I'm not even saying respect as the Pro Bowl quarterback he is. The only respect I'm saying is, like, can we put him next to Daniel Jones? That's all the respect I'm asking for, is just, can we put him next to Daniel Jones? Like 7 or 8. That's all I'm saying for Geno Smith, is just, can we put him and Daniel Jones in the same tier? And that tier for me is, ask me again at the end of the season about both of those quarterbacks. I'm not even going to pretend I know. Just ask me at the end of the season how I feel about Daniel Jones and Geno Smith.
So we have Geno Smith left off. Kyler is left off too, I should say. And I don't know what's going to happen with Kyler this year coming off the ACL. But if you told me Kyler was outside the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFC a year ago, I would have thought you were Looney Tunes. And this is kind of making this list look a little bit more Looney Tunes as I kind of read it. Just if, I assume Kyler comes back at any point this year and looks like Kyler has in the past, he's at least a top 10 in the NFC. Whether he's a top 10 in the NFL, different conversation. But top 10 in the NFC, I can make that case for Kyler Murray. Who else is left off? Sam Howell, I understand it. I get it. Above Jordan Love, below Jordan Love, I don't know. It's just the same amount of game tape you have.
So the list of people who get left off, I think at this point is a lot of people who we don't have game tape on. So I can name 4 people who I can think of right now. It's Brock Purdy, it's Jordan Love, it's Trey Lance, and it's Bryce. I guess Sam Howell's technically, because he's technically a starting quarterback, but Bryce Young would be the other one that I think of. I think all of the people
Falcons
are
too. He
fair
left
to
off,
keep off the list.
he left off Ritter or Heineke as well too in this, and that's also too coming off. He's a guy from Georgia.
Did he leave
too,
it off, or did they? I was going to say, did he leave it off, or did they not deserve it?
Did not deserve it. Did not deserve it. But if we were to see the rest of this list, 1 through 16, it'd be interesting to see where he put it. I know he's harsher on the Falcons in particular because he's from the area. Yeah, you know, like, again, you mentioned it, as we've seen game tape from Brock and everything. Can Brock be as good or better than Jordan Love if they both play up to their prospect status? Absolutely. He has been in the NFL. I like Shannon. Part of me thinks that this is to just get everyone hyped on his arrival on First Take, which could come any day, any week now. But I'm curious to see how Stephen A is going to approach this one. It's going to be a lot of, I love you, brother, but you're crazy kind of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, so if we were putting it together right now, here's the tiers that I would break it down to. The tier 1 would be Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields. The tier 2 would be Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and Dak Prescott. Although I think Dak Prescott might be in a like tier 1.5 of like, he's not quite Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, but he's also not quite Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins. So maybe Dak is like firmly number 3. Then you've got the Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. Then you've got the Daniel Jones, Geno Smith. Then you've got the Stafford, Derek Carr, just because we have a sample size on them. And then I'd put the group of guys where we'll find out later, which is Trey Lance, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, and Brock Purdy in that group. And then Kyler Murray, I understand just leaving him off just for the sake of he might not play this season. So there's not really a point to kind of add him into the list. But if we were doing this, say, at the beginning of last season, I think Kyler in that group with Dak Prescott is like the 3 or 4 best quarterback in the NFC. But I understand just leaving him off for the sake of he's probably not going to play this year.
Yeah, that's the only case in terms of that. But yeah, they're just issues I have. And hey, if you are buying into Justin Fields as top 2 right now today, I mean, that's on you. I disagree with it just because I think I'd rather lean on guys that I know what I'm getting. Justin Fields still has to prove that to me, and I feel like he hasn't proved that to me quite yet. Again, there's still time. There's this season to develop and see how it happens. He has the playmakers now, so this third year will be instrumental in determining how good Justin Fields will be in the long run of his NFL career. But all right, guys. Well, you heard Shannon's list. You heard Uncle Shay Shay's list. Welcome to Club Shay Shay. Coming to First Take here soon. What do you think of the list? Absolutely Looney Tunes, or do you kind of agree with it? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. From Juju and Kyle, stay safe, happy, and healthy. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next video.